Well, greetings, viewers, and good evening to you all. Today, I have a guest, a big guest, in fact, is Honorable Essa Faal, party leader of Team Sobeya movement, and it's a very big pleasure having you. And Mr. Faal, thanks for honoring our invitation.
The pleasure is mine. Thanks for having me.
All right, we will go straight to the point. As you know, electoral cycle has already begun in this country, and you, as an aspiring candidate in the past election and this coming election too, quickly, can you just give us a round of your activities that Gambians would expect from Mr. Faal come 2026 polls?
Well, if I understand the question, well, the activities that people should expect would be the regular and normal campaigning. Of course, our campaign is different, from what everybody is doing. You could see clearly that we have a completely different campaign strategy or different campaign methods. We are no longer focusing on these big rallies that we used to do, like in the last elections. Now we do things differently. We are more interested in the interpersonal connection between us and the electorate, in which we listen to them, hear their concerns, understand very well what issues matter to them, and then together we find what we believe would be solutions that we can present to the public for them to assess and determine whether we can deliver on their wishes and aspirations. So this is what we're doing now, and this is what we hope to do until election time, and then we present ourselves to the people and see what the Gambian people would say. But I do believe that December 2026 would provide very surprising results for Gambians, and that APP Sobeya would emerge as the party of the day.
APP will emerge as the party, and that's the words of Mr. Essa Faal. Well, you talked about a very crucial point here, that you have, graduated from organizing big rallies. Now you are more into interpersonal communication, knowing fully well, listening to them, their concerns, and seeking to address those concerns. Now, another question here is, we all know we live in a country where, people fancy big rallies and big meetings, other stuff, noisy rallies. Why do you think, going into interpersonal communication would yield results for you?
Look, I think every party has a responsibility to look at things and determine what works for it. We've been doing these big rallies in the last election cycle, and the last one we did was in our Congress last December in Farafenni. It was a big rally. So people know that we have the crowd. Most of these big rallies, the objective is just to demonstrate force, to show that you have a crowd. But that does not necessarily win you elections. What wins you elections is the commitment of the people and the buy-in of the people into your programs, if you will. And we are better off, at least for us, we are better off selling our programs through interpersonal relationships, interpersonal contact with the electorate, instead of in mass rallies, wherein half of the people probably don't even hear what the candidate is saying or what the speakers are saying.
So don't you think, organizing mass rallies counts in Gambian politics?
Of course they do count. Like I said, they show that you have a crowd, they show that you have force, and a lot of people are interested in that. Those are some of the things that move them. Others are more interested in the ambience and the festive environment and around big rallies and so forth. So yes, people want to see that, but that's not what wins you elections. As a political party, we are more interested in focusing on the things that will help us win elections instead of just creating general ambience.
Well, I mean, one would wonder, Halifa Salah's they have been doing that for a long time. I mean, they are not interested in big rallies. Just even if they have 5, 10 people gathered and they sell their ideas, but yet still it's not yielding the result.
Well, I mean, like I said, they have to do what works for them. We too would have to do what works for us. All right? And for us, we do think that what we are doing now is working for us. So perhaps maybe December 2026 would prove my theory, right? But as it is, I do think that what we are doing now is working for us, and we would change it if we think it's necessary. But as it is, this is the strategy that we have for now.
Are you confident that you will win the polls in 2026?
Oh yes, mighty confident.
What gives you that confidence, Mr.?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of things that give me that confidence. 2026 is not 2021. When I joined the race in 2021, amid a lot of pressure, Gambians were saying, no, Mr. Faal should just wait until 2026. 2026 is his year. That's what Gambians used to say. Well, we are now going to 2026. I want to test that. But I do believe also that on the basis of the response we are getting on the ground, on the basis of how people are reacting to us, we are very, very confident that December 2026, we are going to win the election.
Let's talk about the removal of the Auditor General. I mean, after he's been removed from the office, you made a statement, in fact, a very critical statement. I mean, spelling out how the Auditor General should be removed. Talking about, independence to the auditor, talking about democracy, and also, the independence of the auditor, the office of the Auditor General. I mean, now that he's been removed, what is your take?
Well, I think I have made it quite clear to Gambians that the person we have entrusted with the responsibility of ensuring the proper application of the Constitution in government is the chief violator of the Constitution in our country, that is our president. I believe that what he did was ill-advised, it was wrong. Well, the published report, even though the sanitized version of the Auditor General's report tells us that there's been massive corruption, massive abuse of authority, massive mismanagement of the meager resources that we have. Maybe that's what the president was trying to hide, I don't know. But clearly we've been told that the report that was presented to Parliament was a very sanitized version of the one Mr. Cisse came up with.
You believe that the report was tampered?
That is the suggestion out there. I have not seen the two reports to be able to make my own conclusions about it. But I do understand that people close to these matters did quite clearly say that the report produced by or presented by the current Auditor General is a much sanitized and watered down version of what Mr. Cisse came up with. And if that is the case, I think that just demonstrates that perhaps I say, our president had bad animus in his decision to remove Mr. Cisse through the back door. This is what I call constructive dismissal.
Constructive dismissal. I mean, he was appointed as a minister of...
No. It's not the appointment. This is constructive dismissal. It's like, it's not your normal, ordinary dismissal. 2-line letter, you are hereby dismissed from this position. No. But it is done in a way that gives one impression whilst trying to achieve the other. So, you know, when they say he is kicked upstairs, it means it is just a promotion, which is just a hollow gesture.
Don't you think that is good for Mr. Cisse?
Well, Mr. Cisse knows better what is good for him than me. Certainly he does. And Mr. Cisse says he is better off continuing his position as Auditor General. instead of being trade minister, a position for which he believes he's not qualified.
But don't you believe that he might ascended to the appointment before rejecting it?
No, I don't know all those details, but Mr. Essa knows better. He says he never accepted it. And I do know that offers of appointment are not accepted verbally. They're not accepted orally. But it has to be in writing.
But don't you think sometimes we are in a continent called Africa and Gambians and Gambia per se, don't you think sometimes before you appoint someone you need to seek for his consent, and if he gives consent then you give him an appointment? So I guess you are doing.
There is nothing to say about that. I think that is only normal. I think that is only sensible.
What advice would you give to the president regarding the removal of the Auditor General?
Return the Auditor General to his position of face the embarrassment at the Supreme Court that he acted unlawfully.
So if you
and for which Gambians should punish him, because the president is now a serial violator of our constitution. And therefore Gambians should punish him at the polls come December 2026 for playing with us, for not taking us seriously, and for not taking the sacrosanct document of this country, for not taking all those things seriously.
So by that you mean the president has been violating the constitution of the president? I mean, he compromised a lot.
He what?
He compromised a lot.
Well, that is different from violating the constitution. Let him compromise with whatever he wants. But he has an obligation. He swore an oath to respect and uphold the constitution, and we are ready to hold him to the standard. But we are not ready to forgive him or to find excuses for him for violating the constitution.
But I mean, you're talking about violation of the constitution, and one will say since the president came into power there have been changes with regards to respect for the rule of law, respect for human rights, and today you are claiming that he has been violating the constitution.
But that is true. I mean, that is true. I mean, the fact that there is greater respect for human rights does not necessarily mean that there are no violation of rights.
So do you believe you can be a president for a whole term or for a whole 5 years without violating the constitution?
Well, that is the standard to which we aspire.
But do you believe that can happen?
That is the standard to which we aspire.
And that is what Essa Faal stands for?
Of course, that's what I stand for.
All right, that is clear. Your point is clear and your stand is clear. I mean, let's move on. Most of the time, you always, come out to challenge some step taken by the state, that is the government. I mean, assuming that you are now approached as Minister of Justice, will you accept?
I laugh at that.
Why?
I mean, I just laugh at that. It's not interesting.
But are you not interested in working with the president?
No.
Why?
I consider it as not a good government for Gambia. I consider it as a government of Nafulo Pisirpasa, a government of wasting national resources, a government that misplaces priorities, a government that protects corruption.
But can't you be the catalyst for change?
Yes, that's what I am trying to do.
But then why not you join the government and help the president?
Why not fight it from the outside?
But when you fight it outside 2021, it didn't work. Why not try another alternative?
Does that mean that 2026 will not work?
Anyway, it's a dice. No one knows what is inside the dice.
Precisely.
No one knows what is inside the dice. Now, assuming that you are selected as the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia.
My friend, that's not interesting to me.
But
you see, it's not the position. It's the company that you keep. I don't want to work for a government that I believe to be corrupt.
But your presence can help change the narrative, Mr. Faal.
Well, you see, if you have too many rotten apples in the bag, what you need is to weed out the rotten apples and not to add another good apple.
But in this case, we are talking about a chemical that can stop further apples.
No, there are too many rotten apples in the bag. I call them the 40 thieves. AB and the 40 thieves.
So you don't want to be that chemical to
No,
stop
look, I don't want to be part of a company that is reputed for thieving from the people. I don't want to be part of that company.
So it's clear Mr. Faal have no interest in working with the government, but rather...
No, don't say that. That is wrong. I have an interest in working with or even heading the government. Okay?
I mean the NPP
yes,
government.
But I don't want to work with a group that has a reputation of misappropriating national resources, of wasting national resources, of misplacing priorities, of not being concerned with the welfare of the citizenship of this country, with the citizens of this country, and a government that has no qualms violating the law of this country. I don't want to be part of that.
Do you believe there is mismanagement of funds in this country?
Of course, every Gambian believes. I mean, the other day there was a poll that says 90% of Gambians believe that there is corruption, massive corruption in government. So it's not me saying it; it's Gambians saying it. Didn't the president indirectly admit that there is corruption in his government? Didn't he just come out to tell us that this thing is not easy there? That those were his words.
Well, he's saying it's not easy like that.
It's not well. So thank you for that correction. So you must have heard what he said.
All right. I mean, you talked about series of things. Mismanagement of funds. The government not, prioritizing citizens' interests. Now I want to shift your attention to, the recent crackdown between the police and citizens. First, we start with what happened at the gala, the first gala engagement when they were arrested. Let's take a review about on the Public Order Act. What is your take on the Public Order Act?
The Public Order Act is a colonial relic. And we all have to understand what was its purpose. Its whole purpose was to tame us, to prevent us from being able to go out and protest against governments. So this is a law that you found in every British colonial country. Some call it Public Order Act, some call it vagabonds and what was the word again? Rogues and Vagabonds Act, something like that. So the whole purpose was to tame us, to make sure that we don't go out in the streets and protest. But these are violations of all known norms of political rights, peaceable assembly, the right to protest, and so forth. So this law was meant to guard that. We have two laws in Gambia that were intended to give the executive sticks by which they can use to clobber the citizens in the event they feel that the citizens are not towing the line. Public Order Act and the False Information Act. And these are all laws that the TRRC recommended that they be reformed or repealed. So the Public Order Act is clearly one of those unconstitutional laws that we have in the books. Well, maybe they're not even unconstitutional in their construct, but they are unconstitutional in their application.
That is what, in fact, that was the question I was about to ask you, talking about the Public Order Act being unconstitutional.
Yes, to the extent that it unfairly restricts the rights of the citizens to peaceably assemble.
But don't you think there is need for grip?
For what?
Don't you think there is need for grip or command in the state?
I mean, we have the criminal code. That is enough.
But don't you think there should be certain laws that will at least restrict people from doing other types of kind of action?
That's why I'm saying, as a lawyer, I'm telling you we have a criminal code. If you commit a crime, it's in the criminal code.
Then what happens when one goes out and you are caught?
And what?
And you are arrested.
Yeah, but I am saying that those laws should not be there.
Now we are talking about the laws are already in our books. We failed.
But I'm telling you they are unconstitutional.
Now the point is, I understand your point. The point I'm trying to raise is like those people that were arrested, do you believe they were unconstitutionally arrested?
Yes, I do believe so.
But the law says there is a restriction for people to go out, even though the law is cruel, as you put it, but it's still in existence and it is not repealed.
But that's why I'm saying that the TRRC recommended the reform, the amendment of these laws.
But those recommendations were not put in place. Now
we are not having an argument. Yeah. You're asking me questions. You should give me the chance to respond. Yeah. So if it is an argument, then it becomes something else. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that the TRRC even recommended that these laws be reformed. These are not progressive laws that we have. These are colonial laws. Yeah. This is what the colonial masters used to control us, to prevent us from going on strikes, on demonstrations and things like that. But unfortunately, that is what our governments are still using. You understand? And that is not what progressive societies do. We should reform these things, allow people the right to go out and demonstrate and so forth. There are laws that govern how people conduct themselves in public. You see? So, but if we still use these very bad laws to restrict the rights of the people, I think it is unconstitutional.
I mean, that is clear. I mean, in fact, I remember I have a conversation with one lawyer. I mean, even though I will not disclose his name, but he also made the same statements, as you do, that how the laws came about and why they brought such laws. But now I'm saying that we have this law in place, and yet still people choose to go out.
Yes, because the thing is, if you have unfair laws in a society, people take the law in their own hands.
What happens if you take the law in your hands?
Yeah, look, it brings the governed and the governors into a conflict. This is what happens.
And when that
look at what happened in Madagascar. You must realize that power belongs to the people. Power belongs to the governed, not the governors. Okay? The governors are just allowed to use the power of the people. So if they abuse that power, the people can punish them by removing them through the polls or through open revolt, like you have seen in Madagascar.
Why don't you think it would be ideal for citizens to wait till 2026 and use the easiest way of
but I mean, I have given you the two ways I know.
Yes.
Governments change. Okay? So, and I want to leave it at that. I mean, obviously, this is what I'm fighting for. I am fighting to go to the polls to defeat Adama Barrow and become president of this country. And bring sanity in government and bring a government that would respect the laws and ensure rule of law in this country and peace and security. That's why we are doing this.
Of course, most of the times politicians or political parties do talk about, the misfortunes that are happening in the country and all that stuff. But at one point in time, not all politicians share their party money. Do so they have any form of a book.
Yeah, I wish you had done your research before coming. It would have been quite obvious that we have, and that it's in the public domain. So we are not one of those parties that do not have a manifesto or would not share their manifesto. We are happy for every Gambian to read ours.
It's not like Sobeya doesn't have a manifesto. Okay. The accessibility of the manifesto is
but the thing is, we're not hiding it. We want everybody to read our manifesto, and we want everybody to hear and understand, to hear about it and understand its contents. And that's why we are disseminating it very widely. And that is why we are translating it into local languages and put it in audio so that people can hear it. Ours is for everybody to see, because we have confidence that what we have in it would represent what is best for Gambia, in our view, under the current circumstances.
Do you believe there is police brutality in the government, Mr. Faal?
Well, it's not a question of whether I believe. The question is whether there has been. And we have seen Omar Baji, what happened to him. We have seen that boy something Ba, who was demonstrating with the gala. we have seen events of the recent past. So yes, of course, there is police brutality.
What advice do you have for the president's-in-law?
The president's in-law,
The IGP.
I mean, oh, yeah, I'd rather call him the IGP than the president's in-law because that sounds very much like nepotism coming from State House. But, I mean, all I have for everybody in this country is let's respect the law of the country. Let's respect the law of the land.
But don't you think sometimes, I mean, when there is crackdown between, let's say there is protest or there is a heavy gathering, sometimes don't you believe, I mean, that brutality is usually triggered by protesters?
It does not matter whether it is provoked by protesters. Police, they have what is called rules of engagement. And the rules of engagement describe precisely what the police should do under different circumstances. And what we have seen happen lately does not seem to suggest that the police, in fact, are following any rules of engagement.
Or do you believe that they are only following command?
Well, I would expect that. I would expect that because this is a disciplined force. They go by command. But the laws of the Gambia are that when police are in operation, there are rules of engagement. And there are rules that govern crowd control. So if you do not follow those rules of engagement, you're probably violating the law.
You're probably violating the law. That is Mr. Faal's take on, the recent brutality from police towards citizens. Now,
look, what happened, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm not aware of the full facts. Yeah. And sometimes you hear this thing and next time you hear another thing.
I understand.
They said what is certain is that there is a coroner's inquest ongoing, and perhaps I should not even speak about who is right or wrong because it is subject. But what is certain is that the police have a responsibility to protect the people, right? And that is sacrosanct. They have a responsibility to protect people. It is not their duty to kill people or to do things that would put the people in harm's way. Their responsibility is to protect them.
What is your take on the current human rights state in the Gambia?
Well, I think we are sliding. We're going down from what it was in 2017 and 2018 or even 2019 when we were doing TRRC. The police stopped slapping people because they knew they were all seeing what was happening. Now it looks like we are sliding back into old days. Heavy-handedness, is creeping back into law enforcement, and that is yielding terrible results as we have seen recently.
So basically, you are saying that instead of us moving forward, we are going backward with regards to human rights. But one might argue that the President of the Republic of the Gambia has been trying a lot in observing human rights.
Well, thank God we are not having an argument. So I'll leave it at that. I think he's been slacking. He's been sluggish about this. I think he has encouraged violations of the law.
Yes,
in several ways. Maybe not necessarily human rights violations, but in fact, with the massive corruption that is ongoing, I consider that also as human rights violation.
Let's talk about the 2024-2025 human rights, report that was filed by the National Human Rights Commission. Did you go through the report, Mr.?
No, I did not go through the report.
It makes some recommendations to, the police force and, the police force is in spotlight. Some of the reforms that need to be done at the police level, and also, recruiting highly trained professionals into the police force.
I think those are not new. It just shows that if the president had implemented the TRRC recommendations, then we would not be in this situation.
But right now we have, this past police graduate, we have series of degree holders that were trained into the police force. Don't you think that is a good move for the police?
Yes, it is good, but we can do better.
We can do better. All right, that's very clear. We can do better. All right. You did talk about the state of human rights in the country. I mean, you've made some suggestions and also some recommendations. Now we want to talk about, I mean, your chances of winning the election. You talked about people saying 2026 is your year. And now 2025, we have seen the emergence of a new political movement called the, I mean, United Movement for Change.
Yeah, but what do you want me to say about that?
The point here is, I mean, of course, no one will argue. In fact, SS Media conducted polls on our WhatsApp channel when we asked who Gambians think will win the polls, and I mean, 90% of the votes went into your favor, and we have. But by then, the United Movement for Change has not yet emerged. Now that the United Movement for Change has emerged, don't you think it will shake in your camp?
Look, you know, I don't want to be drawn into this kind of talk,
Yeah.
because it puts me in a situation to talk about some other candidate in the opposition.
No, we don't want you to talk about another candidate. What I want you to talk about.
But how can I not? If you want me to answer your question, how can I not talk about another candidate if you want me to talk about a movement that wants to put up a political party?
No, I am talking, the point here is, would that movement, I mean,
you're just putting me to talk about a particular candidate, and that is not what I will ever do.
Mr. Faal, I mean, I hope the question here is, do you think that movement will shake in your camp?
Look, you said you did a poll, and 90% of the respondents supported us.
But that,
so
by then, before when we were doing that poll, by then this camp has not yet come out.
So you think our 90% support in Gambia would just eviscerate because there is another candidate?
It's not about it eviscerating. The issue is, do you think you still have those?
Look, all I can tell you is, the only reason why we were able to get 90% support by the voters on your platform is because people believe in our politics. People believe in what we have to offer for Gambia. And that is what matters. At the end of the day, come December 2026, the Gambian people will decide. And I want to believe that we would be the overwhelming favorites to win the election. For a lot of people, it may surprise them. But I am sure a lot of people will also be surprised that in your poll, 90% of the people supported us. And it's not just your poll. There are lots of other polls which gave us overwhelming support. But I'm not the one to sit here and trump our chances on the basis of these online polls. These are just online polls, and it's only equal particular kind of people who go to particular platforms. So I'm not swayed by those things. But I am telling you that we do have confidence in our campaign. We have confidence in our candidate. We believe that December 2026 we will win the elections, because what we are putting out there is what Gambian people want to hear. We are the candidate that is taking the government to task. We are the party that is bringing out all the litany of corruption and the abuse of authority and mismanagement of resources and the nafulo pisir pasar that is happening in the country. We are the party that is taking the government to task for the massive violation of rights and violation of the constitution that is taking place. We are the party that is bringing out the terrible malaise that is in our healthcare system. We are the party that is talking about the lack of prioritization of education and youth development in the country. We are the party that is talking about the issues that concern the Gambian people. And the Gambian people are listening to us, and they are hearing our message, and they are buying it. And that is why we are getting overwhelming support. And I do believe that this kind of support will continue until the election.
Are you ready to go into a coalition with another party that has the same vision like you?
Look, I have more than 100 times called for coalition. All right, so that shows that I am willing. That's all I have to say about that.
So is Mr. Faal going into a coalition 2026?
I don't know. Being willing and going into it are two different things. All I can tell you is that I am willing. It takes two to tango. It doesn't take just one person or one entity to tango.
Have you started engaging other political parties that you think have the same ideology?
If I were, I wouldn't be telling you.
Right. That is pretty clear. If you were, you wouldn't be telling me. Now I want us to talk about, internal.
And there is a reason, because this is not the place where I should be telling the people who I am talking to, if I am talking to anyone.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I hope my response is understood in that context.
Yeah, it's very understood.
It's not about you, it's about the platform. I wouldn't sit in a platform to say certain things.
I understand it's sensitive to be on a platform and you're discussing certain things that are not yet, achieved.
Thank you.
Well, the other point that I would want to discuss about, internal democracy within political parties.
Yes.
This is a very crucial thing, given that political parties are always, championing for true democracy, the observance of the rule of law and other stuff. Now, we are talking about Sobeya. On what basis is a party leader selected in Sobeya?
Congress.
Congress. What is the state of democracy within Sobeya?
I was, if you want to mean, why am I party leader? Because I was unanimously selected as party leader unopposed.
Could it be because you are the party, you formed the party that...
No, I did not.
You didn't form the party?
No, I did not.
But people formed the party and called you.
You see, that is neither here nor there.
Yeah.
The important thing is I was a member of the party. And the party went to a congress and I was selected as party leader.
Could it be because Mr. Faal has the resources? He has the name, the knowledge. That is why we are selecting him.
There are 1,001 reasons. Make your pick.
1,001 reasons?
Yeah, I'm just trying to tell you is that there are many reasons why one would select a particular person. It's not just because you believe that Essa has something and therefore he is elected party leader. I think this would have to be based on my qualities as a person and not the depth of my pocket.
Do you think it's the qualities of you, Mr. Faal, not
the depth of my pocket?
Not the depth of your pocket. I believe viewers, that is very clear. Mr. Faal was elected as the party leader of Team Sobeya, not because of his pocket, but because of the qualities he possesses as an individual.
Thank you.
I would have loved for us to talk about other political parties, but since you don't want to talk about another political party...
No, look, it is massively unfair. It's politically foolish to sit here and talk about other political parties. Just think about it.
Well, the president is an ambassador of a party, and you frequently talk about the president.
Because the president is my opponent. I want to bring an end to his kleptocratic government.
You mean kleptocratic government?
Yes.
All right, that is very clear. The president is his opponent, but if he was not the president, he wouldn't be talking about...
Of course, why would I?
He wouldn't be talking...
Let me tell you, as far as I know as a person, I think Adama Barrow, just by himself, may be a very nice person.
You think?
Yes, but I am opposing him because I believe that he is not the best person Gambia has. I don't believe he can run this government. I believe that he is the wrong person sitting at the helm. I believe that he is taking Gambia backwards. That's the reason why I oppose him.
Yeah.
I'm not opposing him for any other reason. I have nothing, absolutely nothing against the president. All I wish him is well. Yes. Okay? But what I don't want for Gambia is for Gambia to have a president called Adama Barrow. Because Adama Barrow, in my own view, is not good for Gambia. He is allowing all this corruption and theft of our resources to happen. That's why I oppose him.
But it's Barrow's government that set up the TRRC, and through that TRRC you came, Mr. Faal.
But this is neither here nor there. That is irrelevant. That is irrelevant.
Don't you think setting up that TRRC is relevant? Because at one point in time, you acknowledged that during 2018-19, police officers stopped slapping.
No, but yes, setting up the TRRC was a very good thing. But whether I was elected, so I was appointed by the Barrow government or not, it's neither here nor there. That is insignificant, as far as I'm concerned.
But don't you think it is significant because your coming really brought that name of Essa Faal to Gambian people?
But the thing is,
many people adore you because, in fact, I wouldn't be fair to say myself, I know Essa Faal through the TRRC, and I was following the TRRC.
But people are known because of particular reasons.
So you're saying your appointment as a lead counsel is not relevant right now?
It's irrelevant in some issues, but on this particular issue, it is irrelevant. Somebody has to do the job of lead counsel, okay, whether me or somebody else. I wasn't the first lead counsel ever appointed in this country. Even just by the time the TRRC was kicking off, there was another commission and there was a lead counsel. So whether A or B is appointed as lead counsel doesn't really matter. I am here. Gambians have seen what I can do, and it is for Gambians to assess whether I am fit. It is for Gambians to assess whether I am potentially the right person to lead this country. Even if I did not do the TRRC, Gambians would have a basis to assess me. TRRC gave them more reasons, and it is quite clear that I think that the whole world acknowledged the great job that we have done at the TRRC, and I do believe that the preponderant majority of Gambians support what we have achieved at the TRRC. So yes, obviously more people will know me, more people will adore me, and of course also some people hate me because of the job I have done at the TRRC. I mean, sometimes it doesn't bother me because I was only doing my job. I was appointed to do a job. And you know what? But a lot of people think that I hate Jammeh. But I have nothing absolutely against Yaya Jammeh. Okay? But you know what? My loyalty was to Gambia and the laws of the country, and not to any individual. So I had to do what my job responsibilities demanded. Sometimes I was a little aggressive. That's what the job required in my assessment. Sometimes I was so calm. That's what the job required. Sometimes I showed so much emotion. In my view, that's what the job required. Sometimes I showed, a little bit of harshness. That's what the job demanded. My job is to use the tools I have in my toolbox to get the truth out of people. And that's what I did. And I had to do it because it was Gambia that demanded that I did it. I was not looking for what was interest of Jammeh or what was in the interest of X or what was in the interest of Y. I was looking at only one thing, Gambia.
In your deliberation, you made mention of Barrow is your opponent because you believe he is not the best person for the Gambia. Is Essa Faal the best person for the Gambia?
I may not be the best person, but I am better than what we have. That's my belief.
That is your belief. You might not be the best, but you are better than Mr. President.
I am better than what we have as president.
You are better than
And I believe that if elected into office, I will do a much better job.
Now, assuming that, let's just get this. You are ready to go into a coalition. Now, assuming that another political party wins, and that party has the same, if not, the same, but at least some of your views that you have as a politician, will you be ready to work with that government?
My primary mission is the removal of the Barrow government.
That is your primary mission.
Yes, and be replaced by a functional, effective, efficient, and honest, forthright, and straightforward government, whose primary obligation, whose primary focus would be delivering on the wishes and aspirations of the Gambian people. That's why I am doing this. I had a job. I could have gone back to that. Okay, so I am doing this because I want to help create a better Gambia for all Gambians, not a better Gambia for a section of the population, not a better Gambia for a group of people, not a better Gambia for members of one ethnic group. I want a better Gambia for all Gambians and everyone who is living in this country. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
You said you don't want a better Gambia for a particular section of for a particular ethnic group or for a particular section of people. Do you believe that is what is happening in this country?
No, I did not say that is what is happening. I am telling you what my objective is.
That is why I asked that question, so that the point could be
I have answered your question, but
right.
that is not what I said.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Faal. The other question, if not the final question, yes, the final one. What will be your final message to our viewers, to the Gambians?
Well, to say that the Gambia is in a sorry state at the moment. The country is sliding backwards, both in terms of human rights, our democratic gains, we are losing them, and in terms of development, the country is regressing. Look at the cost of living. Every day, prices are going higher and higher. Gambians are getting poorer for it. And people are living in hardships. And it does not seem to me that this government has a clue how to fix this problem.
Sorry, I have to interrupt. You talked about development, but one might argue that, I mean, there are a series of roads that are constructed by the Barrow government.
Yes,
a series of hospitals.
But the roads have caused us grave problems.
Are politicians being censorship on issues that are in the Gambia right now?
I don't understand.
I mean, do politicians only filter, are only focused on what is not going right, but are not focused on what is going right?
Yeah, but you do not criticize the government for what is going right. You criticize the government for what is going wrong.
But sometimes it's good to applaud.
When we need to, yes, we will.
But politicians hardly
I don't see the need to at the moment. When people cannot pay school fees, I don't see any need to applaud. When people do not even have enough fixed fish money, and most homes do not have 3 square meals a day as we are used to. I will not applaud when fish is now costing so much to the extent that most poor families now cannot afford their protein needs. I will not applaud when 95% of Gambian students will not pass the WAS. I will not applaud when the cost of living is going up on a daily basis. I will not applaud when the dollar is depreciating on a daily basis. I will not applaud when our hospitals don't have beds and our sisters are being put on 3 per bed or 4 per bed in the hospitals. I will not applaud when our hospitals have no blood or there are no gloves to be worn by the medical practitioners. I will not applaud because of the mismanagement of the resources in this country. Why would I applaud? Why would I? There is nothing to applaud. Our team, our Gambian national team cannot even play in our own home turf. You think there is anything to celebrate? Any right-thinking person would say this government is a massive failure. There is nothing to celebrate.
What will Mr. Faal do if appointed into office?
Everything would be done differently. There would be greater honesty. There would be greater straightforwardness. There would be greater transparency. And there would be greater responsiveness to the needs of the Gambian people. I am in politics to help deliver a better Gambia for all. And by the grace of God, if we are elected into office, that is what we will do. It's easy to beat the Barrow government, by the way. It's a government of misfits.
You believe it's easy to beat him?
Yes.
Where did you tumble in 2021?
No, you misunderstand what I'm saying.
All right.
It's easy to beat them in terms of performance.
Performance. Oh, okay. I mean, he says it's easy to beat Barrow government in terms of performance and not by the polls.
Well, Barrow has a second term. He won the last election. So what is there to say about that? I mean, there's nothing to say about that. He won. So.
Well, viewer, thank you very much for following. It was an interesting episode with Mr. Essa Faal, the party leader of Team Sobeya. I mean, he made some deliberate, very, very critical analysis, important points, and I believe you viewers will listen to it and you will enjoy it. Until we come your way next week, I have been your presenter, Modlamin, and thanks for following.
Thank you, Modlamin.